Hey loves, welcome back to my channel. It's Nurse Michelle here. You're on a channel where I make nursing videos, lifestyle videos, and occasional travel vlogs. If you like content like that, then do not forget to hit that subscribe button. So one of my subscribers asked me what PACU nurses actually do, and I thought, by now I've answered this question, so I directed the subscriber to my All About Peri-Anesthesia Nursing, and I recently watched that video and I realized that I don't really tell you guys what PACU nurses do, or even with my day-in-life videos, I still aren't able to show you guys what I actually do at work because I want to protect my license and I don't want to break any of the HIPAA laws. So I kind of refrain from showing you guys that part of what I actually do at work. But so in today's video, I'm actually going to walk/talk you guys through what I actually do at work, just to give you the full picture of what my typical shift looks like as a PACU nurse. So let's get started. The first thing I do when I walk into work is to look on the assignment board. And on this board, it tells me where I'm going to be assigned for the day, where my bays are going to be for the day. I get assigned 2 bays because I'm only allowed to go up to 2 patients at a time. And as the patients come, I rotate them through each bay. And I also grab my assigned phone for the day, my phone number, and this is how I get contacted during my shift. Once I know what base I'm going to be working in for the shift, I walk over to them and of course I check to see if there are suctions set up. There's an ambu bag there, my airway basket is filled with oral airways, nasal airways, there's Yankauers in there, and suction. Because PACU is very airway heavy, you have to make sure that you have everything you need in case a patient comes to you obstructed and you have to manage their care. Another thing I make sure I have is a working computer because that can make or break your shift. So once I have all that in place, I check on the PACU board and I'm going to make a version of it so you guys can see what I'm talking about. On this board, it tells me the scheduled patients of today, what patients are currently in pre-procedure, pre-op, what patients are intra-op right now, and what patients are in post-op. So it looks something like this. So I look at that just to see how my day is going to go and what kind of patients, what kind of surgeries we're doing for the day. When a case is closing, the OR nurse calls our charge, and our charge nurse assigns that patient to a nurse based on our queue. We have a queue that allows us to rotate each patient per nurse so that there's an equal spread of patients across the board, so that one nurse isn't getting multiple patients and while another nurse isn't doing anything. So we'd like to keep it fair and equal. The charge nurse looks at the queue and then assigns the patient that's coming out of the OR to that nurse. So let's say it's me and I'm getting that patient. So the charge nurse gives my number to the OR nurse and the OR nurse calls me. So I'm talking to the OR nurse. She is giving me the surgical reports. So basically what they did, who the surgeon was, what the surgical set looks like, how many sites there are, if there's multiple, what kind of local anesthetic was used for that surgery, and if there's any drains or anything that I should look out for. And the CRNA, the nurse anesthetist, brings the patient out to the PACU and I get anesthesia report from them. The CRNA's job is to tell me what kind of anesthesia was provided for this patient, whether it being general or regional. So if it was general, the CRNA then tells me if the patient was indeed paralyzed and reversed and what kind of medications they used to do that. So if they paralyzed them, they use rocuronium. If they reversed them, was it glycopyrrolate or neostigmine or sugammadex, kind of analgesia the patient received intra-op. So my hospital, we rotate between fentanyl and Dilaudid. If it's fentanyl, how much they got, Dilaudid, how much they got, and then what kind of anti-nausea medication they gave. Most of the time it's going to be Zofran, unless the patient's allergic to it or something, and what kind of steroid that was given. We use pretty much Decadron across the board and how many milligrams of that the patient received. What kind of sedative was used, so most of the times it's Versed, unless the patient's older than 70, and then they don't give any kind of benzos to that population. While the case was going, how much fluids the patient received during the entire case, what their EBL was, their estimated blood loss was, and if they had a Foley, what their urine output was. So if there was any other issues intra-op, if the patient was extremely hypertensive, what they used to manage that, the patient became tachycardic, what they gave for that. The CRNA also tells me the past medical history of the patient, if they are diabetic, hypertensive, have sleep apnea. The sleep apnea population are very difficult patients in terms of intubation and anesthesia. They are at higher risk for not complying with anesthesia. They also let me know if the patient was a difficult intubation, if they used laryngoscope to help intubate, or if it was easy and they kind of just put the tube in and they were fine. So that's basically what the CRNA tells me. We then get first set of vitals together. The CRNA basically leaves me in charge with the patients, and that's where my care starts. So in PACU, we have a set of post-op orders, an order set that the anesthesiologist releases, and this includes fentanyl, Dilaudid, anti-nausea medications. Usually it's Zofran and Phenergan, and like Benadryl if the patient needs it, and then the PO pain reliever, usually Percocet. So for the fentanyl order, they tell us how frequently we can give this medication. So it's usually like 25 mg of fentanyl every 5 minutes times 4 doses. And then it gives us the second line, which is the Dilaudid, and that's usually like 0.5 milligrams every 5 minutes times 4 if the patient needs it as needed. The Zofran order is usually 4 milligrams of Zofran post-op for nausea, first line. The second line would be the Phenergan, and that's usually like 6.25 milligrams. Of course diluted before we give it. And then the Percocet is just a 325 milligram tablet. And then we use that to basically manage the patient's care. So as the patient wakes up from the anesthesia, they tell us they're in pain, we're medicating. They have nausea, we're medicating per our orders. Once we've seen that this patient has met criteria, if they are to be going home, this is our criteria. Pain is manageable, nausea, vomiting is manageable and tolerable. They are on room air. Their SATs are above 92% on room air. Dressing looks clean, dry, and intact. And they are able to walk without like getting extremely dizzy or falling. Then they can go home basically. So then once we've met this criteria, we then transfer this patient to phase 2 and they get discharged from there. If the patient wants to be admitted, or if they were an inpatient, before they go up to their designated floor, we have to make sure that there's a diet order, fluids, if they have a Foley, they have an order for that, and of course when to discontinue the Foley, and then the hospitalist puts in like their in-house orders. But before the patient goes up, we just got to make sure that they have a diet, because a lot of these patients after surgery are extremely hungry, and if the activity level too, yeah. But yes, so that's really what my shift looks like as a PACU nurse. And like I said, I can have up to 2 patients at a time post-operatively. Typically they come in one after the other, so you're not like bombarded with 2 patients at a time, which is amazing. In a typical shift, I can see anywhere from like 4 to 6 patients in a 12-hour period. And a lot of this time is spent, you know, waiting for patients to come out of surgery and whatnot. If the acuity of the patient is high, then you're definitely 1-to-1 observation with that patient. Working in the PACU is like really nice. We do get relieved for lunch. We can't leave our patients by themselves while we tell another nurse to listen out. It doesn't work like that in the PACU. So when a nurse actually comes, the charge nurse typically comes and relieves you for lunch. Our lunches can range anywhere from 30 minutes to 45 minutes if the day is slow. So yeah, a nurse actually comes and relieves you, and they actually take over your care. So they're medicating during this time, and they can send patients to the floor or discharge patients for you while you're gone. But they're actually actively taking care of the patients while you're gone to lunch. So they're not just sitting there watching. Yeah, working in the PACU is such a sweet deal. I hope this video helps you guys get a better picture of what a typical PACU shift looks like. I know I couldn't really show you guys what it is just because of HIPAA, but hopefully by me explaining it and talking about it, you guys get a better picture of it. If this video was helpful, do not forget to hit that like button. Do not forget to subscribe if you haven't already. Leave a comment letting me know what your thoughts were on this process. Is it similar to your units? Let me know, and I'll talk to you guys in another video. Bye.